Hello, my name is Tremaine Kwashipi, and today I'll be discussing Strictly Business Properties, our management and personnel plan. Sit back, take a close look, ask any questions at the end. Thanks so much. The mission. The mission of Strictly Business Properties is to provide affordable, energy efficient, and high quality rental properties to the constituents of rural areas. How will we do this? We look to accomplish this by purchasing and renovating distressed homes in a rural area. The reason we want to look at rural areas is because we're looking to increase the value of these areas and the standard of living. I personally live in a rural area. I live in Ahoskie, North Carolina. The population is around 5,000 people. So you're looking at an area that is economically at a disadvantage. And one of the goals of Strictly Business Properties that we think through homes will be able to increase the standard of living. When we know when economic development comes to an area, you're able to increase jobs, participation as far as companies want to come and to build up that area. So that's what we're looking to do. That's our mission. When you look at vision, you start thinking about where the company will go in years, what of our kind of our future. So what we would like to become is a real estate development and management company. We're going to focus on the standards of living and the market that we serve, and we look at that market that we serve because we ultimately know that this market could change over time. So right now we're at a rural area, but later we could go to an urban area. That may be something that we're looking at later down the road. Our organizational chart, you're going to see at the left corner, you'll see board of directors with a star beside it. This star means that the board of directors in the initial phase one is going to include the CEO, chief of operations, also the chief of finance, and the chief of investment. The CEO is going to work with a board of advisors. This board of advisors will be able to have an equity stake, and you'll see that in the later screen. But at the same token, they're only going to act as an advisory role. The equity stake is going to almost put them in the category of an investor. You also see an executive assistant. It's going to be necessary for the company. So we're looking at those key four roles that a company will be able to move. Then each department or chief is going to have their own department. So chief of operations will manage the management department. Our chief of finance will manage the finance department, and then our chief of investment will manage the development department. Key players under the management department will be a property manager and an administrative manager. Under the finance will be an attorney and also an accountant. And you'll see all the way at the bottom we have human resources will kind of stand alone as a standstill. So this person will be a director as well. And in our development department, the first one that we will have is research and development. Those are the keys for those first two phases. In phase three, we will populate the bottom tiers of the chart, and you'll see different offices or departments that will be needed, but that will only consist of phase three. So in this plan, we're going to be focusing on phases one and phases two. So in our equity structure, you're going to notice that the investors as well as the board of directors, CFO, COO, CIO, they all are going to have 5% equity stakes. The CEO is going to have a 75% equity stake, and the reason being for this is the CEO wants to make sure that they're able to mold the company. In some of our research, we are finding that the CEO needs to have some type of succession plan, because in this plan, they are obviously going to have to, if the company is able to grow, they may outgrow their skill set. So that way the CEO has built in equity within that they're able to give off some of their equity if need be. So now we get to the plan. So the plan for phase one, The company will begin with a founder CEO. We're looking at attracting 4 key players, which include the chief operation officer, the chief financial officer, the chief investment officer, and an executive assistant. These 4 persons will keep the business running for years 1 through 5. The short-term goals for the company, as written, to build key relationships with real property professionals, including brokers and agents, banks, law firms, building contractors, and others. The company will purchase, renovate, and rent approximately 2 homes every 3 months for a total of 8 units in 2015. Also, during this period, 1 home will be selected based on its quality for sale. The home will be for sale so we can show how we can increase our cash flow with a sale. So if the home, this is just an example, if the home is purchased for $25,000 to $40,000 with a 25% renovation budget and sold at least for a 50% markup sales, we're looking at profits of over $25,000, and that's going to be amazing for such a small company like Strictly Business. We know that we would need capital of this magnitude to continue. So the 4 key personnel, and this is just a snapshot of what they really, all of their duties, but you can see all of their duties in the written plan. The chief executive officer, again, mold the company's culture and provide leadership. Chief of operations, maintain day-to-day operations that will lead to success. The chief finance officer, ensure that the company is in a positive financial state at all times, making sure that they're under control of all of the money and know where we are going with financial statements. The chief investment officer, plan all investment activities. This will include strategic commercial and residential real estate investment with the trends and opportunities. So when we're looking at trends, we want to look at trends for the area, and then we can also look at opportunities for growth. The executive assistant, just assisting all day-to-day tasks, and the biggest task that we look at is managing the executive team, just keeping us all on task to move forward. Phase 2, and you saw that earlier in the organizational chart, the 4 management team members will expand the company, each population in their own divisions. Now, those 4 management team players will include, again, the CEO, CIO, CFO, and the COO. The division will include key personnel such as property managers, administrative managers, accountant, lawyers, HR director, and researcher and developer. During the year 2020, this is after those first 5 years, each year moving forward, 2 homes will be purchased and renovated. This will allow 1 house per month to be kept into the rental portfolio. So we're looking at, that's how we want to start, but we know in our strategic plan over that 5-year period, we're looking at having 60 investment units. This is going to give us an average of $2,000 positive cash flow per year with a total of around $120,000. And that $2,000 is per unit that we're looking at getting. We have an annual asset appreciation of 5%, and also during this 5-year period, more than 60 homes would have been sold. And this is us being very aggressive. We understand that this may be more aggressive, but we want to make sure that we are looking for an aggressive approach. With that, we'll be able to do 15,000 profit each for each of those homes. So this is going to give us more than $1 million in cash income. So if we're talking to our CIO, we're at an average investment of $10,000 per unit, 100% to 150% profit margins is expected. So the key players, who are they? Why are they here? Obviously, CEO, founder CEO will be myself, and my picture's to the left. COO, we're looking at recruiting Mr. Marshall Cherry. He's the current COO for the Roanoke Electric. This is a C-level utility corporation or cooperative. He brings a lot of experience to the table. He's a retired or veteran from the Army. He also has experience with that co-op, and all of his years, or majority of his years, he has been a chief operating officer. We also have a CFO, Mr. David Forrester. Just recruited Mr. Forrester recently. He came to the college where I currently work at. He brings a wealth of knowledge in entrepreneurship. He's actually done some work with some of our professors at Western Carolina University. He also has experience in working with venture capitalists, and he's a great writer, as well as he's really good with numbers. He's the current CFO now for Ronald Truant Community College. And then CIO, we're looking at Miss Andrea Glaze. She brings great knowledge to the corporation. She has master's in industrial psychology, so she's going to be able to kind of get involved with more of those that industry side of things, kind of analyze trends, analyze data. She's also written some of the grants and received grants for her area. I think she'll be a great key piece for this team. And then our executive assistant, this is going to be one that's kind of in-house. I will be utilizing my wife for this position. One of the reasons is her expertise as far as is time management and task management. She's worked on different projects within the schools. She also has worked on her own venture, and one of her ventures has been adult care homes. So I think she'll be able to keep us on task. Just a quick snapshot of those salaries there. Goal for us would be the chief executive officer, 140,000, CFO 115, CIO 105, chief operating officer 125, and then executive assistant 60,000. These salaries are based on studies done from salaries.com and also indeed.com. So what is the recruitment plan to how do we get those key persons and what involved? Well, it was very much driven by the founder CEO. Wanted to personally take on this task of getting people who would fit the culture of the company. It's going to be based on networks. How will we populate the rest of those employees? It's going to be based on the networks of the top 4 to 5 persons. We'll utilize social media sites such as LinkedIn. We'll also use some of the hiring sites. But then we also want to get key persons in place and kind of utilize them in the aspect of an internship, if I will, maybe a 3 to 5 month project where we can pilot a project and see how these persons will work within our company. So again, Strictly Business Properties is a company that is driven by helping people. That is the passion. We understand that if you renovate distressed homes, you increase the value, the standard of living. We understand that we're going to push the envelope in some of these areas. Some areas, such as where we are based at, will not want a company like this because they want people to stay in homes or rent places that are not up to the standard of living. Personally, I moved to this area about 5 years ago, and it took me around 6 months to find a place to live, and what something that I thought was pretty decent. I didn't get the best service. I thought I got some decent service, but at the same token, I understood that there was nowhere for me to go. So then that began my ideas with starting to rent, kind of get into real estate, start investing. So I purchased 1 home. I'm at 2 homes now. I'm currently working on 3 homes. So hopefully you can feel some of the passion that's with this company. I hope I've answered a lot of questions through this presentation, but if not, please give me a call. My number is 252-862-0049. My email is tkwasik, P as in Paul, UI @gmail.com. Thank you so much and have an awesome day.